Hello and welcome to another edition of Broncos Talk Sports, Totally Soccer Edition. I'm back. My name is Christian Manoukian, and with us we have our awesome analyst, Kevin Martinez. How are you, Kevin?
I'm good. Yourself?
Good, thanks. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of interesting stuff scattered all over the place. The first thing I want to talk about was PSG's 8-0 win over Dijon earlier in the week. It was pretty crazy because Neymar scored 4 goals. And I know you're a Neymar fan, of course. But he was actually booed because he selfishly took away a penalty from Edinson Cavani, who, had he scored the penalty, would have become PSG's all-time top goal scorer. And I was thinking throughout the week on the subject of superstars in a team. Do you think that having superstars like Neymar in a team improve team chemistry, or do they actually detract from the overall chemistry of a team?
I think it detracts it a little bit, actually. Obviously, like, having a superstar changes the game a lot, but when it comes to chemistry, there is obviously they're gonna bump heads a lot, and you can't say Cavani's not a superstar either.
Right.
So it might be a little different, but it works for some teams. You can give an example like Man City, Barcelona. They seem to have great chemistry, but I think PSG just needs to figure it out. It obviously takes a couple of times, maybe a season or two, but I think they'll be fine.
And that's the question. Even more so than just having one superstar. Like Cavani is a big player, but Neymar is dominating the headlines each game. No matter who scores, who plays, it's always Neymar. So that makes me wonder, teams that have multiple big name players, like I'm thinking Manchester United, who have Pogba, who was he broke the world record transfer fee. Then you had Lukaku, who broke the club record transfer fee. Then you have Sanchez now, who just came into the club. Yeah. All these big egos, big personalities clashing. I wonder if that's, Man City, Man United, they're so far behind Man City. Is that because of the clash of heads or something else?
I think it's something else. I don't think it's that much clash of heads. I think it's finding the right way to play with all of them. And that's probably the coaching staff, I think, needs to do a better job to find out what works best with every player, because they're all different in so many ways. But there is a way to make it work. Man City and Pep Guardiola did a great job. It took them a season to get it done.
That's true.
I think PSG will be fine, and I think Man U is going to be great next year for sure.
On the subject of superstars, a former superstar just retired this past week, and you might be thinking when you hear the name, what? I thought he already retired. But Ronaldinho announced his retirement from the game this past week, and he hasn't played in 2 years. And I guess he just wanted some publicity. He was feeling a little lonely, so he sent out a PR announcement saying, "I'm retiring." But Ronaldinho, I think back to his prime. He was such an amazing player. You're a Real Madrid fan, is that right? Would you want prime Ronaldinho in your team?
Oh, of course. Of course. I would. What he did at Santiago Bernabeu, where the whole stadium just applauded him after the great game he had, in his prime, he was probably the best player I ever got to see play. Even though I was a Real Madrid fan, there's no way you can hate the guy.
There you go. He just has a lovable face. He plays in a lovable way. Is there a favorite moment you have of him? Was it that moment at the Bernabeu when he scored and people just got up and started clapping for him?
That's one of them, but there was a moment where he didn't score on this play, but he did something he took 3 players and then chipped the goalie with no angle and hit the crossbar, and I was just like this is crazy. How is he so good? And he's just playing with a smile the whole time. He always had fun.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite moment, is just the smile and the creativity with which he played. There's not many players I guess you could say Neymar is someone that kind of resembles Ronaldinho, but he only resembles him. He's not him. There will never be anyone like him.
Never.
So switching our focus to English shores, and I wanted to ask you, Kevin, about Liverpool. 1 week they beat the league leaders Manchester City. The next they go down to basement dwellers, bottom of the league Swansea City, and they lose 1-0. This has been the main critique of Liverpool for so long now, that they're inconsistent, that they can't string together performances that will make them a championship contender. And we see it again. What's the issue here? Is there one issue you can pinpoint, or is it just something broader? What do you think?
There's probably more than one issue in it for sure. That's to say, but I'd have to say I think it's the attitude that they come into the game with. Coming in and playing against Man City, knowing that they're unbeaten, Liverpool came out strong and fire, and then they played a team that sat back on them a lot, which was something they probably were not expecting. But I feel like they didn't adjust to it well. They kind of played the same level Swansea was playing at, and they're comfortable in that level, going with okay, they're just gonna sit back, eventually break, and we'll get 1 goal. But that didn't happen this time, and I feel like that's something the coach got to address. And if they would have came out the same way they came out against Man City, with the same energy, they would have ran through Swansea 5-0 like they did in Christmas Day, I believe.
Yeah.
So I think that's what the consistency definitely needs to be better there. But they are a young team with a lot of young players, so I feel like they just need to get used to that, especially in the Premier League where every game is very competitive.
Do you think they'll, like in the near future, push on and capture a trophy, whether that be like an FA Cup or, God forbid, a Premier League title in the near future? Do you think they have that quality in them?
Yeah, I think they do. They definitely do. And I think they can attract very good players coming in. They have a great coach that loves young players. Mm-hmm. So I believe that they can attract something good.
Do you think in the next 2 years they'll win a championship? Or do you think it's just like a longer-term project?
It's tough to say. Because the way Man City's heading, the direction they're heading, it's tough to say someone will catch up. Right now you can say Man U's probably the closest one to them.
Right.
But then you always have Chelsea that will come out of the blue and just have a great season. I think it's more of a little long-term than just 2 years for them.
Long-term. Well, two amazing teams, two of a bunch of amazing teams in the Premier League. We'll be keeping our eye on that. But for now, this has been another edition of Broncos Talk Sports. Thanks for being on, Kevin.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you next week.